Some people call me crazy. I think I'm lucky. My passion drives me every day. I'm an ultra-distance trail runner. What's ultra-distance trail running? Ultra-distance. I run distances that are longer than your typical marathon. 50 kilometers, 100 miles, ranges, miles in between those distances. That's what gets me going every morning. And I don't do it on the roads. I choose to be on the trails. This is my playground. This is where I get to go train on a daily basis. It's not a paved path. It's rocky, it's rooty, there's a chance of falling, but there's also this amazing ability to get to places on your own 2 feet that nobody else will ever get to see. There's beautiful high alpine meadows, lakes, vistas that just take my breath away. I finished my 12th 100-mile race last weekend. It was pretty cool. What I want to share with you today is 2 100-mile race stories that happened the summer of 2009. I had the opportunity to compete in two of the most competitive 100-mile races in the world. In the end of June, I traveled to California for the Western States 100-mile, and then the end of August, 8 weeks later, I traveled to France for the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc, which is 103 miles around the Mont Blanc Massif. So Western States, it starts at the base of Squaw Valley. It's an amazing ski resort. You look up at this 4-mile climb, 3,000 feet of gain, and that's the start of your race. You get to the top, you've got 96 miles to go. And I got to this race, and here I've been racing for 10 years at that point. This is the start of my 10th 100-mile race. And I decided to abandon my fundamental strategy. My fundamental strategy is first to smile. I love what I do. I love running. So why would I be out there being grumpy or anything? But I smile. That's my first thing. My second is to make sure that everybody else around me is enjoying what I'm doing. Because this is an opportunity not only to inspire myself, but hopefully to inspire others. And the third, and only once the first two are completed, is to be competitive. I can't help it. It's just part of my makeup. I can't help but count the ponytails that go up the hill and make sure that I'm still up there. So I started the Western States 100. There's this amazing countdown, all this energy. Standing on the starting line of a 100-mile race, these people, 400 people start the Western States 100, and it's just this amazing pulse. Can you imagine your heartbeat? Like my heartbeat's racing right now. Just pulsing with 400 people that have no idea what that first step is going to feel like, or the step at mile 86, or when you finish on the track in Auburn. And that unknown is pretty amazing. They count down 10 to 1, and off we went. And I wasn't smiling because I was so focused. I wanted to win the Western States 100. And I figured if I had to do it, I had to be competitive. I had to go straight to number 3 right from the get-go. And I raced up that mountain and found myself at mile 30 completely depleted. My crew met me at mile 30. A crew in the ultra-distance race is a group of people that are there to support you, and mine is like a NASCAR pit crew. I pull in, arms out, I've got new water bottles in each hand, new gels, energy food in my pockets, slap on the button, out I go. It's pretty cool. But I left, and all the energy that they gave me, I couldn't harness because I'd been running too hard, I'd been running too competitive, I hadn't been smiling, I missed the beautiful sunrise that morning. Wasn't the right way to go, but I had to keep moving forward. They were there for me. My mom was waiting to see me later on down the trail, so I kept moving forward. From this mile 30, you have 20 miles down through these amazing hot canyons. It's like a hairdryer being blown down your throat. And without having like the proper nutrition and hydration going through my body, my quads felt like they were being ripped apart on every stride down into these canyons. And then I had to get myself back up the other side. Made it into mile 50, and I was having the most amazing pity party in my own head. Walking, frowning, But I saw my crew, and they are jumping up and down. They're so excited that here I come in. I'm in third place, and the second woman just left, and she looked like crap as far as they were concerned. And I wanted to sit down in a chair. I wanted them to rub my legs and make me feel better, and they weren't having it. They shoved 2 popsicles in me, iced handkerchief around my neck, new shirt, and off I was. We went down the trail. At mile 68, you're able to have a pacer join you. So one of my crew members, a good dear friend of mine, his name is Rock, joined me for the next 20 miles down to the river, and he pieced me back together. Admittedly, I took a little bit of Advil, which I don't recommend, but it helped the pain in my quads. He got me eating again, he got me drinking, and by the time I made it down to the American River and crossed the river, I was actually had a little bit of energy, and the water rejuvenated me. It was like washing all of that pain off of me and out the other side of the river and up. It was a 3-mile climb to the next 80-mile aid station where my friend Devin was waiting to take me home. And we ran really well for the next 10 miles, and then the reality of what I'd done to myself set in. And those last 10 miles, I had told her before, don't listen to me. Anything I tell you, you tell me to run. And she did. She was awesome. Both of us were yelling at me to keep running, and my body was actually failing. By the time I got to the finish line, it was this pathetic shuffle, and my friends were there running with me for the last mile, and they humored me and kind of ran along with me, even though it wasn't really a run. I made my way around the track and basically collapsed onto the race director with shoulders down. He put a medal around my neck and nicely handed me off to my mom. And I actually look like I'm smiling, but I think I'm near passed out at this point. The next step from this point was into the medical tent, where I spent the next 6 hours flat on my back on a cot. I received 3 liters of IV fluid. I stood up at one point to try and prove that I was okay, and I passed out, blacked out. An ambulance was called. It was a night of drama that I do not want to repeat. It took weeks. I spent the next couple of weeks sitting on my couch with my legs up on a couple of pillows, my laptop staring me in the face. I was supposed to be working, but I wasn't getting anything done. And I finally took some time to reflect on what I had done to myself. That night when I was laying there on the cot, there was a moment where I thought I might never run again. Like I might have just done something completely stupid that I might not even be able to run again. And so what is running to me? How important is it? I need running in my daily life. It is something that I feel, even if I just get a run in, I've accomplished something. And then when I build on top of that, I'm able to do that much more. Running is also an opportunity to share. When I show up at the trailhead and meet my buddies, if I stand at the start of a race with 400 other people, we're all in shorts and a t-shirt, or in my case, in a dress or a skirt, and we're all the same. It doesn't matter where we came from, if we're a lawyer or a doctor or a secretary or a nurse. We're all there, we're all the same. We're stripped down to the real, raw, core, pure person of ourselves. 8 weeks later, I found myself in France, standing at the start of the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc. 2,500 runners start this race, people from all over the world. And remember that pulsing I was talking about? It was incredible standing here. And not only from the runners, the streets are lined with people just reaching out. It was like the start of the Tour de France. They're running out in front of you, taking pictures, and then disappearing so that you could make your way by. I think my favorite part about this race was that energy from all of the people, and then the ability to be in places like this. The solitude, the time on my own. And at this race, I was there, I was present, I was listening. When I was moving through the town and in through the people sitting on the streets, drinking a beer and giving a high five as you ran through, I heard them yell, like, that girl's wearing a skirt. And then I was off in the mountains myself. This race circumnavigates the Mont Blanc Massif. There's 30,000 feet of elevation change. To put that into perspective, that's like summiting Mount Everest and then returning to sea level in a day. You get to run through 3 countries, so the language is changing as you're out there. It's pretty cool. So my time to shine. I was smiling. I was making sure that the girls that were crewing me that day were having a good time. I got into the 110 kilometer point of the race, and I was just hungry. And I have to admit, it's really embarrassing how much I can eat and how quickly I can eat when I'm doing one of these things. And I'm inhaling a bowl of pasta, and they're kind of pulling it out of my hands. They're trying to get me move out of the aid station. And I was like, how are the guys doing? My friend Jenny Yu, she's running her first international race. How's she doing? I knew she was back a little ways. And finally they said, Krissy, would you get going? You're leading the race. And I don't know if I threw the bowl down or passed it off to my crew. I was cranking. I used poles in that race to help with my stability while I was running around the Mont Blanc Massif. And I had 3 climbs to focus on to get me to the finish. And when I got to the top of the 3rd climb, made this long traverse, I looked over my shoulder. I didn't see anybody, but I didn't let that deter me. I was full on sprint. My patella tendons hurt like you wouldn't believe, but I was able to ignore the pain. And I remember this photographer, he was leapfrogging with me down the trail, and he would take my picture and then jump ahead. And when we hit the bottom of the trail and the trail opened up to the road and I could see the shops of Chamonix ahead of me, he had his camera poised, but then he put it down and he raised his hand for the most amazing high five I've ever had in my life. Tears are streaming down my face because the reality of putting it all together, my failure, all of that pain that I felt at Western States, it wasn't for naught. I learned from that experience and I applied it and I ran that last half mile through the streets of Chamonix. People 6 people deep were leaning out over the finish line chute to give me a high five. That's probably one of my favorite photos from racing. Yeah. And I had just this overwhelming feeling as I ran under the finisher chute and into the arms of these girls that you can learn from yourself. When you put yourself in a position to do something that's you might first think is impossible, and then you make it possible, you open yourself up to this pure, raw, real, creative form of yourself. You see yourself there. You see how you react to the world. Back to that Western States example, I was in a cranky spot, but those people that have all that energy and they gave it to me that day, I could have told them, no, I'm sitting down in this chair. I kept going with them, so I saw how I react in the world. And if you can take that from this place in the physical movement and then apply it to your daily life when you're moving through, interacting with your friends, peers, even today, and you can be that real, raw person of yourself, how beautiful could this world be? I feel really privileged to be here today and share these ideas of learning. I've learned a lot from the people in this crowd. And just thank you for your time.